Ladies and gentlemen, 2022 is in the rearview mirror, and it's time to start looking ahead to 2023. And I'm cautiously optimistic about this new year in cinema. And today I'm going to give you the 10 movies I'm most excited for in 2023. And if it turns out anything like my list last year, I'm sure to regret at least a few of these. Let's discuss.
I watch so you don't have to.
Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask that you hit the like button, and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
Push the goddamn button!
Push the goddamn button!
You heard what she said.
I'm going to start off this list, which really isn't in any particular order, with a movie I just learned about a couple of weeks ago when I first saw the trailer in the movie theater. And that movie is 65, which is a big-budget sci-fi action thriller starring Adam Driver. And it looks to be a cross between Jurassic Park and Planet of the Apes, which sounds intriguing to me, and I assume most of the movie will be carried by the performance of Adam Driver, who is capable as an actor, by the way, despite how Disney chose to utilize him in Star Wars. When it comes right down to it, I'm just always down to see more dinosaurs. And I never understood why nobody ever challenged the Jurassic movies with dinosaurs of their own, but it appears that 65 is doing just that. Thankfully, Jurassic World Dominion gave them a huge opportunity because, let's face it, it can't get any worse than that. Can it?
I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
Next, we have an upcoming epic historical drama about Napoleon directed by Ridley Scott. The film also stars Joaquin Phoenix as Napoleon himself. I'm always kind of a sucker for historical topics in movies, especially when they are in the capable hands of an iconic director and an extremely talented actor. We'll just ignore Ridley's Kingdom of Heaven and Exodus, and hope that the third time is a charm for Ridley for these historical epics. This next movie is the one that I'm most likely to regret looking forward to, and I know I shouldn't get my hopes up for it. I shouldn't get my hopes up for anything, really, but I am interested in it. That movie being Evil Dead Rise. Now, I know this is probably a disaster waiting to happen, and it will probably be the next great horror franchise to be bastardized by modern Hollywood.
That's right, it stinks!
Following in the footsteps of all the terrible legacy sequels we got for horror last year. But the concept of evil dead demons running rampant in an LA apartment building does sound intriguing to me. The potential is already there, but the question is, how will the execution pan out? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Next, I have Killers of the Flower Moon. This is the next film from one of my favorite directors of all time, Martin Scorsese, and he's teaming up with both of his frequent collaborators, that being Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro. For me, that's basically a shut up and take my money scenario. The movie is about members of the oil-wealthy Osage Nation being murdered under mysterious circumstances in the 1920s. A murder mystery from Martin Scorsese with DiCaprio and De Niro? Sounds like cinema to me. Cry, MCU fanboys, cry.
Boo frickety hoo!
Up next we have Dune Part 2. Dune Part 1 was a pleasant surprise for me in 2021. To me, they really set that world up nicely, and being someone that was a Dune noob at the time, it got me interested to see and to learn more about this world. Plus, they added Austin Butler fresh off of his Elvis performance this time around. And after that performance, I bought all of the Austin Butler stock I could find. And I'm looking forward to diving back into the world of Dune once again this year. Another one I'm looking forward to is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Of all of the movies that I'm talking about here today, this already feels like the one that is least likely to disappoint me. Mostly because the Mission Impossible franchise might be the most consistently good from movie to movie. Plus, we all know that Tom Cruise is going to do Tom Cruise things and do some crazy ass stunts. That's why everyone now refers to him as the last true movie star. And from the trailer, it looks like they're trying to tie things back into the original Mission Impossible, which is still a phenomenal movie if you watch it today, by the way.
You've never seen me very upset.
Needless to say, I'll be there opening day for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Now for the next one, I know I said that Evil Dead Rise was the movie most likely to disappoint me, but the Super Mario Bros. Movie is close behind. I don't usually cover animated movies on this channel, mostly because I'm a grown-ass man. But as a longtime Mario fan, I've been looking forward to this movie for a very long time. So to me, there is a lot of pressure on this movie to succeed.
What would you know about pressure?
Well, I have kissed a man.
I will say that first trailer had no business being as good as it was, but that could have been very misleading and just setting me up for more disappointment. I guess we'll have to see. Next we have Oppenheimer, the next film from one of my favorite directors, Christopher Nolan. Nolan is still one of the few directors outside of a Quentin Tarantino who still has that name recognition enough that whenever he releases a movie, it feels like an event.
You son of a bitch! I'm in!
Oppenheimer follows a team of scientists during the Manhattan Project that eventually leads to the creation of the atomic bomb. And Nolan reportedly created a real atomic blast for the film, rather than just using shitty CGI. Nolan rarely ever lets me down, and I don't expect him to start with this film. And last but certainly not least, we have Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. Now, we don't know much about this film outside of some really cool looking promotional images that were released last year, but the origins of this film were basically Zack Snyder pitched a Star Wars movie to Disney, which they eventually rejected, because you know, they're so good at what they do. And Snyder basically retooled the movie to not include any Star Wars references or characters, and turned it into a completely original movie. Now, I understand that Zack Snyder isn't everyone's cup of tea, but his visual style alone makes me super excited for what he's cooking up in this one. If nothing else, I feel like he will deliver something that will show us what Star Wars could have been, but seemingly fails to accomplish every single time out. And that concludes my list of 2023 movies I'm most looking forward to. If you were expecting a lot of superhero or comic book movies, then you probably clicked on the wrong video, because I'm essentially looking forward to anything but those movies. Because in my eyes, that genre is dead creatively and needs to be buried. But there is still money to be made off of these properties, I suppose, which is why we have a metric shit ton of these movies still coming out this year. And do you know how I feel about every single last one of them? Well, I'll let Sam Gerard tell you.
I don't care!
Y'all be cool. Right on.